Okay, we're back. The coffee's pretty good today. It's a Monday and I have to start work tomorrow, but let's get the lesson done because it's kind of like work. So remember, we're over here with the piano, C. So this looks like I'm starting on middle C minus an octave, C, C sharp, D. But that C string shape, I call it the root E string shape, is 1, 2, 3. So it's the root E string shape, and then the D string shape is 2, 3, 4. Remember, this is all the ivories, not the accidentals. The accidentals have the labels on them, but we're not going to hit any of those accidentals in the key of C. That's why the piano is set up like that. So we go to the C string shape. The only accidental in the 3, 4, 5 is right here, and that's where we put the C. We have the 4 C string shape, 4, 5, 6. We have the A short, 5, 6, and the A long, the 5A string shape, 5, 6, 7. And we have the G string shape, 6, 7 root is always the same. The E string shape in Locrian is 7 root 2, but in root over here we have the R E string shape is root 2, 3, and on and on and on. And those were the string shapes, and that's how they're defined. Each one of those string shapes is the bottom of a cage, the bottom string of a cage in guitar. Okay? So here's your C cage, the bottom string shapes 3, 4, 5. Here's the A cage. The bottom string shape is 5, 6 or 5, 6, 7 for the long. 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 5, 6, 7, root. The G cage in the word cage is C-A-G. Okay, is here with the C now. And that's 6, 7 root. So that's why the G cage is 6, 7 root in the key of C. So you don't see the letters on here because it changes. Any note can be part of a string shape. Any note can be, according to my dot scales, if you take, for instance, the G note, the dot scale starts on E flat. And that G can be the 3rd of E flat, the 2nd of F, the root of G, the 7th of A flat, the 6th of B flat, the 5th of C, okay, the 4th of D, and one more, the 3rd of E flat. So it could take on any tonality. The G as the 3rd would be C string shape. The G as the 2nd of F would be, okay, so one's like that, one's like that. The G as the root would be, the G as the 7th of A flat would be like this. It's like aliased with the 3rd. So if somebody plays like that, you don't know whether it's the 3rd or the 7th. You know, and once again, the G could be the 6th of B flat. Okay? But that's also similar to one of the others, isn't it? So usually we have the A string shape there, the G string shape, and then the 5th of G is the D string shape. That's the alias for the G string shape. Okay, and on up the scale. So as you know, any note could be any of 7 modes kind of thing. Well, let's move along. We're not going to worry about modal offsets today because that might confuse us. So with the cello now, we're going up these scales. The string shapes that I just explained to you, these guys are the same here, but they're backwards. So going into the cello, we go up these string shapes, and then we add a note here. And in chart 401, the next chart, we're going to add that note below the string shape and define some modal positions for the cello. So instead of adding the fourth note at the end, we're going to add it in the beginning in the next chart. But for this, our purpose is so the cello is going to go up, and then the guitar would go down at 3 notes per string. Okay, the cello goes up at 4 notes per string, but the first 3 of those 4 notes is the exact mirror image of the guitar. So that's good to keep in mind, because when you're on the cello and you're playing say 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4, you know that 2, 3, 4 and that 5, 6, 7, you know they're neighbors. You just don't know which one's on top. Is it a 4th or a 5th? A string shape 4th or a 5th? But you just get a good feeling, you know that they've been close, but they're topsy-turvy. These are the actual 4-note string shapes on the cello. The pattern stack, I looked at this. Why did I make it as high as I did? Because we want all 7 4-string modes. So this would be root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2. That would be position 1. Position 2 that I've defined is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3. Position 3 would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4. Now look at position 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, and then we go over. Remember, in cello we've got a perfect 5th between the strings, so that augmented 4th is over 1, but once again the full scale rule on 2 strings in cello still holds, 7 to 7 here. So we've got 7 to 7 here, we've got 4 to 4 here, we've got 5 to 5 here. So this is why we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 strings, so we can get all of the positions that I've defined on the next chart. And we can go there. This is just a little bit about the cello notes on vinyl sticky back. This is the lower half of the sleeve in the mouse box here. This is the mouse box up here. That's the lower half of that note, and I couldn't draw it on the cello. I couldn't stick it anywhere. I could stick it like up here. See where my fingers are? I could put it up there. Okay, this is it. This is the sleeve. It's going to go over the strings, but we don't need it, because in the cello you put your finger in the middle of the note. So we have that top half of the note right here. That's why we have that top half. It's not compromising the exact distances. The only thing that compromises the distances at this point is the action on the cello. So the lower the action you can get away with, the more towards the middle of the note you can go. Okay? So this is like pressing the C note right up here, because there's only half a note there. So that's the cello design, roll-on sticky back. Now let's talk about the key of C, the key of F, and the key of G. Okay, so I have to zoom in here. Cello, you kind of have to get with the instrument here. I got my arm over. Root C cello. C is the root of the key of C, 4th of the key of G, and the 5th of the key of F. Okay, so look at these notes. Root 5 to 6, open cello, open chord, open note region, where we take advantage of those open notes. Well, guess what? If this is C and this is G and this is D and this is A, all 4 of those notes are part of the C, the G, and the F scale. D is the second note in the pattern of C. Okay, G, that's D rather. G is the fifth pattern of C. The